Miami Hurricanes have one of the top-graded quarterbacks, wide receivers, and plenty of other standouts so far. Third of the way through the season, all ACC the rest of the way. Whose stock is rising highest?
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, your host, University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. And thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen to the everydayers. We appreciate you guys being here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. And folks, it is a Truth Teller Tuesday. Our guy Bruce Warner is back with us. Yep. And Bruce, we're going to have a Canes stock report today. We try not to be so obvious like my Uncle Louie down the block who's like, kid, come here. I got a hot stock tip for you. I don't know if you've heard about this Netflix. You can watch movies right on the computer. I stopped going to Blockbuster Video because of this Netflix. We try not to be quite that obvious, but, Bruce, so far, so good. 4 games into the season. Miami does have some stuff to clean up on, but you don't even want me to put that in the universe. All right, I get it. How are you?
No, I'm doing great. I have a funeral to go to in an hour, but
I'm sorry.
My ex-mother-in-law, but 4-0. Now, I did say 5-0. I did say that. And of course I got yelled at by a lot of people, but you know what? That's what I thought. I don't think Georgia Tech is an afterthought, but they're not that good. We should be able to do similar to what we did against Temple, get on the board early and just put the backups in. But some of these guys are going to play. I think that everybody that was hurt, except for maybe, and I still think he should play, is Messidor, because I don't want him going into the UNC game missing 5 weeks of action. I just don't. Now, if he's able to go, I want him to go. I think it's important. Don't you think?
100%. I think it's important. And it's also why I think this bye week comes at a perfect time.
Yes.
Because handful of these guys who have been out, like the Messidors and, the Branson Deans of the world. And obviously for some of these players, we don't know the exact severity because Mario keeps the injuries very close to the vest, and that's fine. Elijah Arroyo hasn't even played yet, Bruce. So it's like,
no.
I think the bye week can go a long way. And I think most of these guys can be back or even be ready to debut by the time the bye week is over. But let's go offense first.
Okay.
Whose stock is rising and falling. And honestly, I don't know. I think there's really 2 guys on offense, but we'll start with Xavier Restrepo. Mm-hmm. His stock is absolutely soaring right now. He's the top-rated receiver in college football right now.
Yeah.
He's got 24 receptions for 355 yards. He got his first 2 touchdowns of the season this past week. And we see, Bruce, that Tyler Van Dyke to Restrepo connection. So let me throw in TVD as the combo. He's off to a Heisman candidate type of pace. I think only
Caleb both of those so far. I got both of those. Go ahead.
Yeah. And so for TVD, I think only Caleb Williams right now is considered to be having a better season so far. Van Dyke has completed 74.7% of his throws, 1,042 yards, 11 touchdowns to just 1 interception, and he's on a 3-game streak without 0 INTs. So who else you got, Bruce?
Well, but before I move forward, remember we talked all offseason from the day I started on the show about the offensive line being the trigger for the entire offense.
Yep.
And there you have it. They're knocking people all over the field, 20 yards down the field. You see Inez Cooper. So the running game is doing well. The passing game, he hasn't really been smacked around hardly at all. But so that offensive line as a unit is trending up, obviously. They had a couple of issues 2 weeks ago against Bethune, but they were much cleaner the other day. I've got on the offense, I think Parrish is playing incredible. And so is Chaney, because we thought he was like dead in the water. Yeah. And he's running like he's got somebody chasing him. I mean, so those 2 guys, X and TVD on the offense. Well, I'm not going to go to the who's trending down. There's one guy out there that
we're going to get to it. Don't worry. Yeah. We're going to get to trending down. And let me add a number. You mentioned Henry Parrish so far this year. He had a big game against Temple, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, nearly 9 yards per carry in that game. On the season, Parrish leading the team with 331 yards, 3 touchdowns on 7.9 points per carry. And Parrish is one of those guys who I think needs this bye week because he got a little bit banged up at the end of that Temple game. So hopefully he's ready to return. And obviously I co-sign on the offensive line, Bruce, because the O-line as a unit, the single biggest difference from last year to this year, like that unit, it looks completely recharged and re-energized. And I could say nice things about all 5 members of that starting 5 on the O-line and even some of the backups. But a guy that I want to give some extra credit to, Bruce, is Jalen Rivers, because he's looked like so far an upper echelon left tackle.
Yes.
And not to say we were uncertain about Rivers because we know he's a good player, but he's always been a utility guy moving all around the line. But he's been so good as a full-time left tackle that we haven't had to think so much about where Zion Nelson is and how his recovery is going. So I give Jalen Rivers a lot of credit because that was one spot on the offensive line we were a little bit uncertain about without Zion. He has answered those questions so far.
Yeah, because he had a bad spring. I mean, all we heard, and I was there and we watched the game, he was getting beaten.
Yeah.
So that was the concern. It's not that he can't play. It's just we don't know if he could play left tackle and protect his blind side, but he did. He's doing a good job so far. All
right, so let me ask you, who do you think on the offense the stock is down on?
I don't know if the word is stock is down. I'm a little concerned about Young dropping those balls that are right in his hands. Okay. It's not like he's trying to make a leaping catch and he just missed
overall, he's been really good. Like, I don't know.
Really good. Yeah. But I think Mario addressed it too. He's a little concerned. He's got to focus. And I know Kevin was on him this past week. That I know. And they'll be on him again this week because he has to concentrate. You can't drop balls when you're wide open like that. Yeah. But Kevin Beard has done a hell of a job.
Oh, yeah.
And you notice there's not that many defensive backs draped all over our receivers. A lot of these guys are wide open. So the play calling is working. And you see these kids that there's nobody near them sometimes. The yards after catch has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Am I down on anybody? Not really.
It's hard. Like, honestly,
it's hard to pick somebody. Like Fletcher got hurt.
Yeah.
You know, when the other day compared to the other guys, he didn't look so great. He looked a little slow. But you know what? It'll take time for him to get his feet wet. He's still a kid.
I'll give you a couple things that the stock, and this is not to necessarily even criticize these people, but I would say stock just down if I'm going to nitpick certain things on the offense. And this is not really on individuals because a couple of individuals have played really well in this position group. But I would say just based on my preseason expectations, the stock is down on the tight end room right now because, Elijah Arroyo hasn't played yet. Jaleel Skinner hasn't gotten on the field.
He got on once. I saw him out there.
Oh, yeah, he did a little. Well, yeah, barely he's gotten on the field. Yeah, he did get on. It might have been in the Bethune-Cookman game. But overall, I don't mean to nitpick everybody in that room because Riley Williams and Cam McCormick have been really, really good. Now that room, they've been primarily used as blockers. They've been very minimal so far in the passing game. So just based on the preseason expectations, I'm not trying to criticize individuals, but I think the stock has been down on the tight end room. And kind of for the same reason, Bruce, the stock has been down just based on preseason expectations on the transfer wide receivers because Tyler Harrell has barely been a factor so far. Shamar Kirk hasn't really been a factor so far. But part of that is the top 3 receivers. And, Elijah Horton has gotten a little bit of burn as well. Isaiah Horton, I should say, has gotten a little bit of burn as well. He had the long touchdown, but they haven't rotated the receivers as much, and the transfer guys haven't really done anything.
Well, I like that because, as we always say back in the day, they didn't rotate. I didn't see Michael Irvin come out. I didn't see Brett Perriman come out. I didn't see Eddie Brown come out. I didn't see Randall Hill come out. I didn't
Andre
see
Johnson,
Wesley Carroll. They didn't come out. Yeah. And that was one of my problems. It was one of my problems with the defense there. So they rotate all these guys, but there's no cohesiveness. They're doing a lot less of that, although the guys they have are pretty damn good. Some of these kids are playing better than I thought they were going to play. So, yeah, I agree with all that you said.
We're going to talk about the defense when we come back. And, and again, when we talk about stock up and stock down, Miami has a top 10 offense in America, number 7 in scoring offense. Miami's got, I think, a 12th overall defense, 3rd ranked rushing defense in the country. So, when you talk about stock down, you're nitpicking. There's a lot of great stock ups so far. We will talk about the D when we come back. The truth teller, Bruce Warner, is with us you know what we like to say? We're only getting started right here on Locked On Canes. And man, I am only getting started on Game Time. Guys, I know some of you think tickets, oh, they're always overpriced these days. I don't get good deals. You get the best deals at Game Time, including last-minute deals. Buying tickets day before, even day of event, should not be a stressful experience because you know you're always getting the best possible deals. Flash deals, zone deals at Game Time. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, whether it be concert tickets, sporting events, of course, comedy shows, and you're getting the Game Time guarantee on that Game Time app. The Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price because if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, sometimes you think, oh, it's going to cost me $100 for tickets to this game. You can find them for $15, $20 the day of the event at Game Time. You have to download this app and try it. I am telling you, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. For the everydayers, if you want to take that everydayer experience to the next level, sign up for our exclusive SMS texting service through Subtext. We give you guys recruiting scoops. You know, we've been tracking Nye Carr and Jeremiah Smith, see what Miami can do, flipping and getting big-time receivers in this cycle, give you guys breaking news, one-on-ones. You can ask me questions on there. Sign up. We include the link in the show description below. Try it completely free for 14 days. Then if you like it, you can opt in for $4.99 a month. We give you a lot of added value on there. So let me give you, Bruce, what I have stock up on defense, if I can shout out some individuals here. Jaden Davis, hell of a player. You know, when Jaden Davis came in from Oklahoma, I thought, okay, this guy's probably our starting nickel. You know, he's a little undersized, so I don't know how he's going to be as an outside corner. Not only has Davis been rock solid, he grades out as one of the best players on the entire team, but he's also one of the strongest tacklers on the team, Bruce. And Daryl Porter is having a hell of a start so far as well. These were not the two guys I expected to be the starting outside cornerbacks when the season began. And both of them, I can understand why they earned those jobs because they are living up to it so far.
I didn't think that Porter played so great the other day. I saw him he was in the wrong spot a few times. So
there were some lapses in the secondary.
I have stock up. I have to Corey Couch.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 2 interceptions for sure.
And he had another one almost. I think Harrison Hunt's playing pretty good. He's getting some penetration. He's, you know, they're not blowing by him. Who else do I have? I have Jafari Harvey. He's done pretty well. He's been all over the field. He runs down the field. I don't see him trotting after anybody. He looks good. And you said Davis, and I thought Corey Flagg's playing okay. He is playing okay. Yep. Yeah, I think he's playing okay. I don't think he's playing poorly at all.
He's one of Miami's top 20 guys going by the Pro Football Focus grades. I think he ranks out 20th on the entire team. Flagg's been good.
Yeah, and I thought that the linebacker, Francesco, whatever your nickname is for him,
Kiko.
I think he was out of place a few times.
Yeah.
And he didn't drop in his coverage. He looked a little lost out on a couple of plays. So I'm sure they're going to tweak that because they can't have that. Not this week, but they can't have it against Drake May. They just can't.
No.
Yeah, they really have to tighten it up. Now, I know, what are we talking about? Georgia Tech? I don't expect much from them. They're not that good. I think we're going to do the same thing. Only, again, this stupid weather looks like it's going to be bad all week.
Oh, I hadn't even checked that yet.
And the weekend, like 60, 70% rain again.
Jeez.
And I hate that. But you know what? It doesn't matter. They have to go through all this stuff to get up to North Carolina. Not that I want to talk about that game, but how can you not? You know, that's got to be on their mind. And Mario's toughest job this week is to get them to focus.
Right.
Because they've slipped up last year. They can't do it anymore. And I don't think they will. I think they have this mentality. And I think he's going to make a big deal of this is the first ACC game, so don't screw around. We can't fall behind. And if you look at North Carolina's schedule, it's a joke. And so if we don't win this game, we're in trouble. We're 2 games behind them. So we have to win that game. And then everything else may fall into its place. I think Clemson can lose another game.
Yeah, for sure.
If we beat them, then they're knocked out altogether. So The A&M game was a trigger for all of this, but the North Carolina game is the trigger for the rest of the season. If we beat them up there, I think the worst we should do is 10-2.
I like it. Wow, from the truth teller. All right, so other guys that I have stock up for on the defense, Bruce, I don't know if you're going to argue this, fine, but based on the way he played in the Temple game, I got to go Leonard Taylor stock up. I mean, Leonard Taylor had a hell of a game against Temple, and so far on the season, he's played 100 snaps this year. He has 15 quarterback pressures, which ranks third in the entire country for interior defensive linemen with his 15 quarterback pressures. So, and I love the entire defensive line. I think has done a really good job despite all the injuries. The next man up, and you shouted out some of those guys before, the Jafari Harveys of the world. Rueben Bain is also playing great. He's one of Miami's top graded players so far this year, Bruce. He's got the 6th highest Pro Football Focus grade on the team at Miami. And I like this about Bain. He has not missed a single tackle yet this year. He's played 119 snaps. He's played more snaps than Leonard Taylor, actually. He's not missed a single tackle this year so far.
He's very good. You know what I like about what you said about Taylor with the pressures?
Yeah.
What did I say? Why do we need a defensive tackle that can get up the field and get in the backfield and disrupt? Now, I don't know who else is making tackles, but the linebackers are not missing tackles. Yep. And he's got 2 guys on him, and he's still pressuring the quarterback. So I like that. That's what we needed. We needed some interior punch to get up the field. So that's really good. I'm happy for all the special teams other than the block punt, which was a mistake by him. I think our special teams is a little more dangerous than it had been, right?
Rashard Smith and as long as Restrepo isn't fielding those punts at the 2-3 yard line, he's been good as well. I
want to tell you this though, it's a subtle thing, but if you look at the game that we just played and the one before that against Bethune, the defense did not do a lot of the things they did against A&M. They didn't come off the corner with blitzes. Right. They were very vanilla the last couple of weeks, and for a reason they were being vanilla. They didn't want to show any more to any of these teams that they have because they were playing pretty much straight up 4-man, 3 linebackers, 4 defensive backs. How many guys did you see coming off the corner in this last game? 1 maybe at the most. Right. I didn't see many linebackers blitzing. So that's a good thing. They could do that kind of damage without doing the things that we're expecting them to do. I think they're going to confuse that Drake May kid too. They're going to come out. They got to get to him. He's the head of the snake.
He is, absolutely. I mean, that's a good team, but they're really carried by a great quarterback is really the situation with North Carolina. So when we come back, let's talk about the biggest things Miami needs to clean up during this bye week before they hit conference play, because it's 0-60 from Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Clemson on. We got a big stretch of games coming up. You want to keep it locked right here to Locked On Canes. Folks, if you need fresh groceries for the week, but you don't have the time to go to the store, I've been there. Try grocery delivery from DoorDash. You'll get everything you want delivered when you need it right to your door. Yes, you've trusted DoorDash to deliver your restaurant favorites, and now you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers too. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. With easy substitutions right in the app and best in-class customer support, DoorDash delivers groceries exactly how you want it. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to $20 value when you use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today. And for the everydayers, make sure on Fridays you check out Locked On College Football Kickoff Live. I'm part of that show, and I'm proud to be part of that show, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every single Friday. We're live on this and every Locked On College YouTube channel, going through all the biggest games, storylines, rankings, Heisman contenders. I just get to relax this week because Miami's on the bye week. So maybe I'll find a way to criticize G5 Billy at Florida and whatever else is going on around the country. So make sure you tune in 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every single day. So Bruce, obviously,
I want to talk about this for 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
How lucky is Florida State? He missed the field goal.
That
would have been a hell of a story had he made that, and then he missed.
Were you listening to the TV commentary? Because
Yes.
they totally set that kid up to fail,
Yep.
that kicker, because all game long they're talking about this story, and then Dabo Sweeney said it's either going to be like a great fairy tale or an
Yep.
awful tragedy. Like, they set that dude up to miss that.
Yeah, and he missed. And he missed. Oh man! But I'm saying they're so lucky.
Well, and okay, let's talk about that, because obviously,
they're good, but they're lucky.
Yes, exactly. So, and I do believe you make your own luck. That good teams find ways to win. Sometimes you do have to get a little lucky, though. At Florida State, they're a top 5 team in the country now, but 2 straight weeks, and Clemson played well, but Florida State had to escape against a bad Boston College team who shot themselves in the foot with all those dumb penalties. I mean, that's a really undisciplined team. I mean, honestly, I don't know how Jeff Hafley still has a job there at Boston College. So they escaped Boston College. Yep. They escaped Clemson. Clemson played well, but it's not your daddy's Clemson Tigers team. So, and, obviously Clemson is down now. They're 0-2 in the conference. So do you look at this ACC and you say, hey, Miami's got a shot here. Like, we got a shot to win this conference.
Well, we control our own destiny so far.
Yeah.
Of course, we haven't played any games in the conference, but still,
right.
There's, to me, the way we've looked, there's no reason to get blown out by anybody. We should be in every game, and that includes Florida State. They're not that great. They're good.
They're good.
But again, like Drake May, the kid he's the head of the snake. He is really good. He escapes and he makes plays out of nothing. And he did that a few times the other day. You got to get him. You got to get after this kid and make him afraid. I don't know if it's going to happen. And I also expect them to blitz us, because really Van Dyke has not been tested with pressure.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a brutal, brutal game. I just hope we're unbeaten going into that game, because that would be a really good national TV exposure.
When I think about what Miami's got to clean up heading into conference play, it seems like they've been kind of doing this throughout the course of the year, but cleaning up the penalties is always a big thing, because you don't need self-inflicted wounds. They did a pretty good job from what I remember on that in Temple. Could have been a lot worse penalty-wise. Definitely need to be a little less sloppy in the defensive secondary than they were against Temple. But then at the same time, it's like, Kam Kinchens didn't play in that game. So if I am to assume that Kam is going to be back for Georgia Tech and North Carolina, some of that's going to fix itself, because he's A, the best player on the entire team, and B, he's the quarterback of that defense. So I would imagine that the defensive backfield is going to be less sloppy with Kam back on the field.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think they're kind of lacing into these guys because they were not satisfied with all the yardage they gave up to Temple.
Yeah.
So I know that that's what they're working on.
Yeah.
And I know on the offensive side of the ball, they just got to keep grinding. They got to keep grinding. And, we did see Ray get in there a little bit, like a little halfback toss thing, but he's got to get outside. He's got to get down the field. These little reverses in the back, he's going to get caught a lot of times. So he hasn't really been involved in the offense. But still, I think there's a lot more surprises to come. Not necessarily trick plays, but a lot of plays we haven't seen yet. But I only wish, and I think Riley Williams is going to get involved against Tech.
Yeah.
To get him ready for North Carolina, because he has something that the other kid doesn't have. He has speed, he can get down the field, and he's a tall, rangy kid. So I think he'll play in the next game a lot, and they'll throw to him to get him ready for the next game. You'll see.
I like that a lot. And to your point, what
happened to the AJ Allen? Where was he?
We don't know. He, Mario Cristobal was asked, and he basically just, he gave a non-answer of, the carries went to who they went to, right? So, I don't know.
That. Unless the kid was in the doghouse for one game or missed something.
I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. He didn't play at all last week, despite being he scored 2 touchdowns the previous game. I mean, listen, you do have a lot of players to manage in that backfield, but I think you hit on something there. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're starting to get Ray Joseph involved a little bit more. I also wonder, because we're starting to see Chris Johnson get involved a little bit more, because the two of them have bona fide track speed, and so to try to ease them into it to play a bigger role later in the year. And then I also wonder, Bruce, because arguably the best athlete on your team is a quarterback who wears the number 11 who has not played at all yet. They are redshirting Jakari Brown.
Right.
But they can use him in up to 4 games without burning that red shirt. So I wonder if there is maybe a role in some packages he's going to play in later this year.
Well, I think he's going to play, but he's not going to play until they absolutely have to have him. Because if something happens to Van Dyke, then he has to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, Williams will be the starter, but he's going to have to get in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're keeping him out as long as they possibly can. And then this way, if there's a couple of games left and he plays, if we need to put him in, otherwise he's just going to redshirt.
Yeah.
And maybe they just don't want him to get into any bad habits, and it'll carry over. So if he has a clean slate, he knows he's got to work on what he has to work on. Maybe he's not going to play at all. But I'll tell you what, Henry Williams,
he's a stud.
I'm very worried about next year if TVD leaves because he could stay another year. But now I'm not worried. That kid is good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm glad that that recruits are having a chance to watch Emory play a little bit, because like they got to know, like you said, if TVD, who's on a tear so far, he's more than likely going to leave, and then the wide receivers you're recruiting have to see what's next in the pipe. Okay, I can trust this guy to get me the football, so that's really important as well.
Yeah, I think it's very important, but I also think that what's this kid, the kid that decommitted from Georgia? You mentioned his name before.
Nye Carr.
Nye. What do you know about that? Because everybody keeps saying he's going to come to Miami.
He could be potentially a Santana Moss type. He's a slot receiver. He's about 5'11", blazing speed. He's a playmaker, and it seems like Miami is out in front right now. And since his Georgia, I think even before his Georgia decommitment, Miami was really working this one hard with Carr. And listen, there's going to be some competition. He's supposedly going to be visiting Auburn this weekend. I think that's the team to watch, but I would say Miami is in the lead for Carr.
Okay.
They've already been out to his high school this week to visit him. So we'll see how that one plays out. But awesome stuff here by Bruce Warner, the truth teller. Bruce, thank you so much. I'm sorry again to your family that you got to be headed out to a funeral today. My wishes and blessings and prayers to you and everyone out there, Bruce. But thank you for making some time for us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love doing this show with you.
I
love it. My mind is someplace else right now.
I understand, obviously. And I appreciate everyone tuning in. If you want to support the show, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button if you're watching us on YouTube, and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to the audio version, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey app, make sure you subscribe. Take us with you wherever you go. And we will talk to you again next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.